Welcome to week 6 of Bible Studies for Life. We're finishing up this first section of studies where we've been looking really very in-depth at the birth of Christ in these first few days, weeks, maybe now a couple of years of his life. And so today we'll be looking at the book of Micah and then Matthew and seeing some important things that come out of this passage for us. All right. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please like, share it, comment on it. Let me know how God's working through your life, what he's teaching you, what you're learning about this, any insights that you have that stand out to you. Share it with others, subscribe and like it. Great. I think that's it. Yeah. All right, let's dive in. Micah chapter 5. Bethlehem Ephrathah, you are small among the clans of Judah. One will come from you to be ruler over Israel for me. His origin is from antiquity, from ancient times. Therefore Israel will be abandoned until the time when she who is in labor has given birth. Then the rest of the ruler's brothers will return to the people of Israel. He will stand and shepherd them in the strength of the Lord, in the majestic name of the Lord his God. They will live securely, for then his greatness will extend to the ends of the earth. He will be their peace. Okay, the main point of having this passage there is to recognize this prophecy that comes from the days of Micah that Bethlehem will be the birthplace of the Messiah, right? You're small. This is a small town, but one is going to come who will be ruler. His origins from antiquity, that is, that he has always been, right? And Israel will be abandoned when she who is in labor has given birth. We know that what happens, Israel comes under the rule of Rome. 400 years, Israel hasn't heard from the Lord. And then Jesus is born, John the Baptist, and then Jesus is born, right? So this prediction of where Jesus will be born, extremely important. And then this other thing I wanted to point out to you at the very end of this, he will be their peace. I love this because what it doesn't say is he will give them peace, he will bring them peace, but he will be their peace. You see that? You catch that? Jesus is our peace. He doesn't just bring peace. He doesn't just make peace between us and God. He is our peace. It is his presence. It is his sacrifice. He is our peace. We need him for peace because he is peace. Okay, all right. So now, we jump from there to Matthew chapter 2. Okay, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of King Herod, wise men from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star at its rising and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was deeply disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. Okay, after Jesus was born, how long after? I don't know. I think it's easy to say that it's 2 years or less than 2 years, okay? Because there's some things that happen next, right? But it's not immediately. I mean, we all have maybe we don't all have, but a lot of us, we've all seen probably the manger scenes. You get them, and there's the camels and the wise men showing up. They're probably not there, right? They're probably showing up to Jesus' house. And you have to think about what happens for Joseph and Mary as they think about, well, God sent us. I mean, clear, God sent them to Bethlehem for Jesus to be born. And so maybe what they're thinking is, after we've taken him to the temple in Jerusalem, which is not far away, we've taken him into Jerusalem to be circumcised. We'll come back, and I guess we're supposed to live in Bethlehem. This is where Jesus is from. It's the city of David. I guess we're just supposed to live here. So they think, that's where they're living. They're in Bethlehem. And then here come these wise men from the east. And when did the wise men leave? I don't know. I mean, the star that they've been following could have appeared 2 or 3 years before, right? It could have appeared before Jesus' birth, at his birth, but they've been following this star, right? Making their way wherever they're supposed to go, believing that this is leading us to a king, and the king of Israel, the king of the Jews. And so they get to Jerusalem, which kind of seems a natural thing for them. Where would the king of the Jews be but in the palace of the Jews in Jerusalem? So they go to Jerusalem, and they go speak to King Herod. And they say, where is this one who has been born King of the Jews? He's already been born. They know that, not who will be born King of the Jews, but has been born King of the Jews, because we saw his star rising and have come to worship him. So, boy, they're making a statement, right? These are And we don't know much about these guys. They're magi, kings, they get all these different names, right? But it appears that they are spiritual men who follow the stars. They see the stars, but they have this sense of who this person is, this Messiah is, the King of the Jews, and someone worthy of worship. We don't just come to worship any king, but this is a king that we feel like we need to come worship. So they're coming to worship him, and they're saying, they go to King Herod and say, where is this guy? We want to go worship him. Okay, when King Herod heard this, he was deeply disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. So he's like, I don't know. I haven't heard about this, right? So Herod's worried about it. So he goes to, and before we read this passage, you know what happens, right? He goes to the scholars, the Jewish scholars, and says, hey, where's this king supposed to be born? And they say, well, they go back to Micah and say, Bethlehem is where he's supposed to be born. All right. And then he tells them, look, I want you to go to Bethlehem, and once you find him, come back and tell me where he is, because I want to come worship him too. Now, here's what's interesting to me, okay? You've got kind of three people here, right? You've got the Magi who find out they're seeking to worship Jesus, right? And so when they find out where he is, after hearing the king, they went on their way. They went, right? You've got the king who heard. He knows where the King of the Jews, the Messiah, is going to be born now, and apparently that he has been born, but his only goal is to protect his own kingdom, right? So his desire is to kill Jesus. We find that out later, right? But then you've got the scholars, the Jewish scholars, the prophets, the priests, and they find out from the king there are some men here who are looking for the person to be born King of the Jews. Where is the Messiah supposed to be born? And they say, well, he's supposed to be born in Bethlehem. And he goes, okay, I'm going to tell these guys that's where he is, So they know, these spiritual church leaders or synagogue leaders, Jewish leaders, know that someone is claiming that the Messiah has been born in Bethlehem, and they don't go see him. Have you ever thought about that? How odd that is? We think a lot about the wise men who go to worship, and we think a lot about Herod, who wanted to kill him. But when I don't think about these men they're supposed to be anticipating the birth of the Messiah, and when told that the Messiah has been born, they never head out. They never get on a donkey. They never make the short trip down to Bethlehem to investigate this for themselves. Doesn't it seem odd? That people could be so invested in their religious ritual that they wouldn't want to see Jesus? Does it seem odd? Maybe not. After hearing the king, they went on their way, and there it was, the star they had seen at its rising. It led them until it came and stopped above the place where the child was. And when they saw the star, they were overwhelmed with joy. Entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and falling to their knees, they worshipped him. And then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. These men had been going, I think, for months at least, had been journeying at least for months. And when they finally get there, they immediately, overwhelmed with joy. Joy is just pouring out. We have finally gotten to this place where we've been looking and waiting. And entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, and they fell to their knees, and they worshipped him. That's Christmas, right? It's why we think about it at Christmas, because he's still a child, a young baby. They may not have been at the manger, and they may not have been there in the stable with the shepherds, but they got there as soon as they could, and when they got there, they bowed down and worshipped him. A baby. Even then, they recognized this one. This one is the king. He is the real king. Not the guy we talked to in Jerusalem. He's the real king. And then they give him his gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, a gift for a king, a gift for a priest, and a gift for a dead person. It's an interesting combination, huh? Yeah. All right, thanks for watching. Hope that's helped. Really appreciate you watching every week. Excited about this study as we head into the new year. God bless you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, share it with others, comment, like. Go find us on Rumble. If you haven't already found that, go find me on Rumble, Steve Brazell on Rumble. And we'll see you next week.